Blood supply of the brain is an important topic, and all of you know the blood supply means it includes the arterial supply and venous drainage. If any question comes from any viscera or any organ, write down the blood supply of that particular organ. That means to write down its blood supply means its arterial supply and venous drainage. In the brain also, particularly cerebral hemisphere, when we ask for its blood supply, you have to mention both its arterial supply and venous drainage. And among different arteries and veins in the brain, one of them is the circle of Willis, which is found by the arteries. And from this arterial circle or circulus arteriosus, the cortical branches and central branches supply the superficial part and the central part of the brain. Today, I will discuss only the formation and location and branches of circle of Willis. Let us see the circle of Willis, which is also known as circulus arteriosus, and this name is after the name of Thomas Willis. And this arterial circlet is found by the internal carotid artery and the vertebral artery. What is that? This is one vertebral artery of one side and another vertebral artery of another side. These two arteries form the basilar artery. So this is vertebral artery of one side, it is vertebral artery of another side. And this is basilar artery, it is passing in front of the pons. So it is the region of the pons. And this artery terminates into two branches. And these branches are called posterior cerebral artery. So this system is the vertebro-basilar system. And another system which will form the circle of Willis, that is internal carotid artery or carotid arterial system. This is internal carotid artery. It is dividing into anterior cerebral and middle cerebral. So this is anterior cerebral and this is middle cerebral. And if I draw like this, it would look in this way. This is the artery, anterior cerebral artery, and this is middle cerebral artery. This one. So middle cerebral artery of both sides and anterior cerebral artery of both sides. And this one is the internal carotid artery. This one, up to this, internal carotid artery. Internal carotid artery. It divides into two branches. Then these two arteries, internal carotid artery, they are joined together here, either by one branch or maybe two branches. It is about 4 millimeter in length, and here the posterior cerebral artery, they are connecting with the internal carotid artery, this one. So this is called posterior communicating artery. This one anterior communicating artery. It is not anterior cerebral, this is anterior cerebral, this is anterior communicating artery. So this one is the circle of Willis. This one is the circle of Willis. So how it is formed? It is formed posteriorly by the posterior cerebral artery of both sides, posterior communicating artery which communicate the internal carotid artery with the posterior cerebral artery, anteriorly in the midline anterior communicating artery, and on both sides by anterior cerebral artery. You note that the middle cerebral artery, this one or this one, this artery does not participate in the formation of this circle of Willis. Only the anterior cerebral artery and it is anterior communicating branch and the posterior cerebral artery and the posterior communicating branch. So all these branches form the circle of Willis, and the different branches from the circle of Willis are, all these are central branches and all these are different lateral branches. These medial branches called the anterior medial and posterior medial, anterolateral and anterolateral. So all these branches are branches from the circle of Willis. They are both cortical branches and also the central branches. And this circle of Willis, it is present in the base of the brain, in the subarachnoid space or the cistern of that interpedunculaire fossa, and around interpedunculaire fossa you will get this circle of Willis. So here you will get the interpedunculaire fossa, and around this fossa this circle of Willis is present. I will show you in the specimen the position of the arterial circle or circle of Willis. Let's see the specimen. In this specimen, I will show you the position of the circle of Willis. The circle of Willis is situated here. This is the base of the brain, and you know this area is the interpedunculaire fossa. So around the structures of the interpedunculaire fossa, there is circle of Willis. It is in the subarachnoid space within the basal cistern. You know there are three important cerebral arteries are there: anterior cerebral, middle cerebral and posterior cerebral. The anterior cerebral artery is a branch from the internal carotid artery. So internal carotid artery here it gives off one branch, that is called the anterior cerebral artery here, and one middle cerebral artery which pass along the lateral sulcus. So these two, anterior cerebral and middle cerebral, they are the two terminal branches of internal carotid artery. And you know this is pons. In front of pons in the midline there is a sulcus called basilar sulcus. Here you will get one artery called basilar artery. It divides into two terminal branches here. So these two terminal branches are the posterior cerebral artery. So this posterior cerebral artery and the internal carotid artery, they are joined together by the posterior communicating artery on both sides, and anterior cerebral arteries of both sides joined together by the anterior communicating artery. So anterior cerebral, anterolaterally of both sides, in the midline anterior communicating. Here is the posterior cerebral and posterior communicating artery. All these are the formative arteries of the circle of Willis. But remember that the middle cerebral artery, which passes along the lateral sulcus, it does not come to participate in the formation of the circle of Willis. And the main branches are, here is the posterior perforated substance here in this area. So here you will get the branches from the circle of Willis called the posteromedial branch. We perforate the substance and supply the inner side of the brain. And on each side of this optic tract, here is the anterior perforated substance here, and also on in this side, both sides. Here also artery gives up branches called anterolateral branches. So anterolateral and posteromedial, these branches, they perforate the anterior perforated substance and posterior perforated substance to supply the inner side of the brain called central branches. And if I see this specimen, here internal carotid artery divides into anterior branch and lateral branch. The anterior branch pass along this upper border of the genu and then body of the corpus callosum in the callosal sulcus. So callosal sulcus, it contains the anterior cerebral artery, and the lateral sulcus, it contains the middle cerebral artery, and the posterior cerebral artery, it passes along the calcarein sulcus. So three major important artery, cerebral artery, they are in the three major sulcus: anterior cerebral in the callosal sulcus, middle cerebral in the lateral sulcus, and posterior cerebral in the calcarein sulcus. So these are the three important arteries in three important sulcus. And the circle of Willis is one of the important arterial circle in the base of the brain, which supplies the central areas of the brain, including diencephalon, corpus striatum, internal capsule, etc., etc. And the aneurysm may occur at the junction of the anterior communicating and anterior cerebral artery, but it may occur at anywhere in the different formative arteries of the circle of Willis. And the aneurysm in this circle of Willis or in this region called the Berry's aneurysm. This aneurysm may produce fatal condition if it ruptures, and to diagnose it you have to treat it, otherwise it may result in very fatal consequences. So these are all for the circle of Willis.